Alright, so I have one for you guys. You guys know that I am reading the book of Revelations for the first time, and it's intense. But in it, it says that there will be 4 angels on all 4 corners of the earth. Do you think the earth is flat, square, or do you still think it's round? How can you think it's round?
So here I got proof of 24-hour sun in Ohio. It's on my channel. It's video. You can't tell me it's not real. This is the Antarctica sun right here. And I'm not even, like, obviously I'm not good at this. I'm terrible at this.
Look, it's even making a football like it's not supposed to.
Exactly. I got the football part in there.
Yeah, so definitely due to artifacts. Football sun is because of artifacts, guys.
Exactly. I had to do it because I was like, all right, I know I suck at like any of this stuff, but if someone like me who sucks and just used iMovie and put this together, imagine somebody with massive budget, like what we're dealing with.
What up now?
What up now? What's up now?
But it's real. It's got to be real. There's a video of it on my channel, so I have to be here right now. You guys don't remember me? I would totally work for ALE. I was here the whole time.
At this point, if you don't know that we're on a flat earth plane, I can't help you. All these TikToks about the 3iAtlas bullshit is just so laughable. Everything is a conspiracy theory until it's not. And it's funny, most of the things that us conspiracy theorists have said or been saying for years have been finally coming true, and yet people still don't believe in the big ticket items. So let's just get 3iAtlas bullshit done and out of the way so you guys can see. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out. Just look into why haven't we been back to the moon? Why haven't they terraformed Mars? Why is NASA one of the top purchasers of helium? And when all the dates that they keep saying that this atlas is going to be here and it doesn't show up, don't be so dumb. And in case you didn't know, the Big Bang Theory, which is a theory, was invented by a Belgian priest. So, come on. Most people think that this is a globe until they do the research. So, go do the research. Okay, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the man who just landed on the moon. Guys, so I watched the Apollo 11 post-moon landing press conference, and I noticed a few things. I also have some evidence of some multiple light sources on the surface of the moon photos, but we'll get to that. So these guys here just got back from doing this.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
But this is what so many people believe they're actually seeing. And I'm not sure why they're supposed to be on the moon, but the moon is in the background, but whatever. This reporter asks Neil if he could see any stars. Neil more or less replies with, I don't recall.
I don't recall.
Buzz has this reaction, and then Michael Collins ends up answering as well.
I don't remember seeing any.
And you can see after he says it, they all kind of look a little nervous, like he misspoke. So what the reporter was asking was if they could actually see any stars from the moon's surface, which was odd that Michael answered because he was in fact not on the moon's surface, he was in the command module orbiting the moon. So it almost seemed as which he was helping Neil answer a question that they had been previously coached how to respond to.
Here are 6 topics that woke me up from the Matrix. First is the existence of God. Years ago I went down the apologetics track to be able to prove that God exists and know for sure that God exists, and not just believe something because I grew up in it. I've been a Christian for years. And when you talk to atheists, you realize that they don't have sufficiently logical answers for most things, like the laws of logic, the laws of nature, mathematics being applicable to physical reality. Where does morality come from? Where does the universe in general come from? They have no answers for that. They'll tell you all the stars, and all this is NASA fake images anyway, but they'll tell you that they all came from nothingness. Nothingness. And then if there's no God, what is the point of doing anything? What's the point of feeding your kids, of doing the right thing? There's no point in any of it. Before we continue, what are some topics that woke you up from the Matrix? Go ahead and put them in the comments so other people can be aware of what's going on here. The next thing that helped wake me up was the Tartarian situation. All these buildings were already here in America. They were here in, Vietnam, China, Canada. These buildings are all over the world, and they're all Roman buildings. These are Roman pagan buildings. All right. And the story is that settlers, in the late 1800s, were building these amazing buildings by hand, no technology. They live in shacks. They wake up in the morning from their shack. They go to the Roman, essentially, construction site, build this. They quarry all the stones from some quarry, carry it with horses on carts, and build this perfect architecture. That's the story they want us to believe. And they built it up in 2 years. They built all this kind of stuff in 2 years. The World's Fairs, amazing buildings built in just a few years, torn down just for an exhibit, just for show. No real purpose except just for show. They tear it down. And they want us to believe that story. And these buildings are in every major country. Every country. And it's a huge conspiracy. And look at that eagle. That's a Roman eagle. And this, when I realized that history was fake, and they've been lying to us about this, the settlers and the gold rush and all that stuff, I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to believe? And what are these buildings for real? What is this? Who built this? Why did they build it? When did they build it? The flat earth is the next one. The flat earth is the most earth-shattering conspiracy that I found that was true. Okay? This was the one that woke me completely up. And look at that city way over there. Way over there. The horizon is always flat. Water always finds its level. And if we were flying in space in an endless vacuum, why is it that we have no container for air pressure? How are we all alive? How are we all breathing? And look, the sun rays, they go around in a circle. They go around like that. If the sun was 93 million miles away, the sun rays should shoot down like this, straight down. But it doesn't. That's because the sun is local. There's a firmament above the earth. Above the firmament is water. And there's luminaries in the firmament. That's what the stars are. That Milky Way galaxy thing that you see, those are just a collection of luminaries. It's not an actual galaxy. There's no planets. There's no fireballs in space. None of that. Okay? We're never going to be pulverized by an asteroid or a comet because there's an impenetrable barrier up there. The flat earth. You need to research flat earth and your own globe model. Next is Holly Weird. When I found out what these people, along with the musicians and of course the elites, what they're doing behind closed doors, the sacrifices, the rituals, the cannibalistic eating of children, okay, it pissed me off when I found that out. And where do you think they got that from, that idea from? They got it from the lizards that live among us. Fast food and the whole Soylent Green situation. When I found out there weren't enough cows in the United States, or in the world, really, the whole world, to supply all these restaurants and burger places, that messed me up big time. And the last one that tied all of it together was the millennial reign of Christ already happening in the past. When I found out that Christ very likely returned in the first century based on the words that Jesus is saying in the New Testament, in Matthew 24, Luke 21, and Mark 13, looking at the historical writings from Josephus and Tacitus, looking at the fake history, the Dark Ages, and looking at all the lies and deception that are going around, like the flat earth and all that stuff. All the stuff I just listed. The reason why all that stuff was being hidden, or it's happening, is because we're living in Satan's time to deceive the world. Rampant evil. Jesus, him returning, ties in all the conspiracies together. It all points to Christ being the eternal king. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know he returned.
Hail and glory to our Lord Jesus Christ. In the middle of the night, I woke up and these thoughts suddenly came to my head. I then began to ponder upon God's throne. I started thinking about God's throne, and you know what? I discovered something, and I'm not going to hide it. I'm really excited about it. But before I show you what I found, I'd like you to see how the Bible describes the model of the earth, according to the Bible. The Hebrew model of the earth based on the Bible looks like this. We are, of course, beneath a dome. Here is our earth and its perimeter, and God's throne is located more or less here, right? In the middle, right in the center of this circle, right? You see the heavens of heavens, and here, more or less, is where God's throne is located according to the Bible. Alright, but what does the North Star have to do with this? In the flat yet round earth model, the North Star is the only star that doesn't move, because in this actual model it's at the central point, which is north, where all compasses point to that central point of the circle called north, and above it lies the North Star, and around it stars revolve in the firmament. And they move, don't they? They revolve in the firmament, but it alone is motionless. Why am I telling you this? Because the North Star is fixed in the sky and always remains still. Well, that is a fact, but the lies of this world claim that the globe is rotating, and the reality is that it's simply at the central point above the north. That's why it's called the North Star. But returning to my nocturnal thoughts about God's throne, as I was pondering God's throne, a verse from the Bible about Lucifer's fall came to mind. How you have fallen from heaven, O son of the morning, who were cast down to the earth. You who said, I will ascend to the heavens, above God's stars, I will set my throne, I will sit on the mount of assembly, on the farthest reaches of the north. We already know that the north is the central point of the circle, and that's why the star above that point is called the North Star. And here, in the biblical model of earth, above the firmament is God's throne. The stars are in the firmament. Above the stars, I will sit on the throne, God's throne, Lucifer told himself. And it dawned on me that night when I was pondering this. In English, the North Star is called North Star. The English language was inspired and co-created by the elites of this world who serve the devil, which is why certain hidden meanings are embedded there.
Pay attention. All you need to do is form another word from these letters.
C-T-H-R-O-N. Look at Tronstar, the star of the throne. They have hidden and encoded it in words because they know the truth, the star above which God's throne is located.
You don't have to believe in flat Earth, but you should at least know why millions do. Because the evidence they bring? The basics start with something simple. If Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, and hurtling through space at 500,000 miles per hour, why does the sky look exactly the same every night? The North Star has never moved. Not an inch. Not a degree. Not in thousands of years. But on a spinning globe, it should have shifted long ago. They also point out that water always finds its level. So how does an ocean curve? And long-distance photography shows objects visible hundreds of miles away, way farther than the curvature allows. The Bible described a flat, enclosed world centuries before science changed the map. Genesis says Earth is fixed, immovable, placed on foundations. Psalm 19 says the sun runs its course, meaning the sun moves, not Earth. Joshua commands the sun to stand still, and it obeys. None of that works on a spinning globe. Then there's the firmament, a dome, a solid barrier, a structure separating the waters above from the waters below. Job 37 describes the firmament as hard as a cast metal mirror. Revelation says the sky will roll up like a scroll. You cannot roll up air, but you can roll up a surface. The Book of Enoch hits the flat earth model harder than anything in scripture. It describes corners of the earth, pillars holding up heaven, the sun and moon traveling through portals, stars fixed to the firmament, the ends of the earth where angels guard the borders. Enoch says the earth is covered by a great crystalline dome, with the windows of heaven that opened during the flood. Flat earthers use these details to argue the ancients weren't primitive. They were describing a world built by design, not chaos. There's a reason the globe replaced the firmament. When you remove the firmament, you remove heaven. When you remove heaven, you remove God's throne. When you remove God, you replace him with science. The heliocentric model wasn't created to explain the world. It was created to explain the world without God. Copernicus, Newton, and later Darwin were all used by societies obsessed with eliminating scripture from cosmology. Because a flat earth with a dome makes us the center of creation, a globe makes us a speck in meaningless space. This deception wasn't scientific, it was spiritual. One of the strongest flat earth theories. Antarctica isn't a continent, it's the ice wall that surrounds the world. The edge of the firmament. The ends of the earth mentioned in the Bible and Enoch. Why does every major nation protect it with the Antarctic Treaty? Why is it the only place civilians can't explore freely? Why is it militarized? When there's nothing there but ice? Those with the discernment to see say it as simple. It is the border of God's creation. Ask yourself this. Why did the Bible, Enoch, ancient cultures, and early scholars all describe the same structure? And why was it erased the moment science gained power? Maybe the truth was never about a shape. Maybe it was about hiding the world God actually made.
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.